If you sign a settlement agreement with the insurance company, is there any way that you can undo it? Hi, I'm attorney Justin Elsner. I'm a personal injury attorney. There are some limited situations where you might be able to undo that settlement. So one way is if you had a very serious collision and no reasonable adjuster would know that you should just take $500 and be done with this case, then there can be a good argument made to the court that you were improperly advised, the insurance adjuster should have known better. They basically took advantage of the situation, telling you to settle this case now, when if, for example, you're transferred to the hospital, spend a couple days in the hospital, you have a very serious case here and should not be settling your case for $1,000 or even a couple $1,000s. So that situation could cause you to be able to unwind the case. Another one is when essentially the insurance adjuster acts like an attorney. And so most insurance adjusters are not attorneys. And so if it appears that they gave you legal advice, then that would be an excuse to unwind a case. You know, if they interpreted part of the contract for you, perhaps then you were confused by something, and I said that something comes across as them providing legal advice, well, that would be illegal if they're not an attorney. It could be a basis to unwind the settlement, especially if it appears on its face that that was an unfair settlement. The third situation that comes up sometimes too is if English is not your first language, and so the way the insurance adjuster explained the settlement to you was improper or not easily understood by you, then there was no what we call meeting of the minds, and there was no essentially consent to settle the case. You were confused, maybe you thought it was a down payment on a settlement, things like that. It could also be a basis to unwind a settlement, but it's not easy. You know, if on its face you have a document where you've been paid money and you sign the document agreeing to settle that case, then it can very oftentimes end up in a legal fight to try and unwind that case. And generally when we're going to take on those fights, it needs to be a significant difference from what we think would have been a fair settlement and what you got. And so it's going to be very hard to unwind something over a few $100s. You would need to think that you'd be entitled to tens of thousands of dollars more generally to unwind those settlements where the court says, yeah, this really was not a fair settlement. There's no legitimacy to the settlement. I'm going to undo it, because otherwise the court will hold parties to the contract that they signed and say, well, you signed it, both parties agreed to it, I'm going to keep this contract in place. And so not impossible, but it's not the easiest thing in the world. So if you have a situation though where you feel like you were taken advantage of, you didn't realize what you were signing, or thought maybe this was just a down payment on your settlement and really you should be entitled to significantly more, then feel free to reach out to us. Happy to give you a free consultation.